All right, hello YouTube. Welcome to How to Play Wrathborne Champions.
What?
I know. So,
New edition.
well, it's the only edition. So Wrathborne Champions is a cooperative board game where instead of doing the classic dungeon crawl situation, they just throw you at the boss and say, do it. And that can be fun.
Yes.
One thing about the game is everyone chooses their character and their weapons, and you can mix and match. You don't have to do like the assassin with the dual daggers. You could do an assassin with the holy staff, or mix it up however you want to do it. It's all good. So today I'll be playing the ranger.
Ooh, the ranger.
There we go. I'll be playing the ranger, and my special ability as the ranger is that whenever something involving the Wrath token comes up on my turn, I can ignore it. And I'm sure that'll come up later, and you'll see how nice that could be. And I'm also going to be wielding the Holy Staff, kind of going for a druid feel. The Holy Staff, when it does damage, as you can see, you can choose a player and heal them for 2. And that will happen for all but one of the cards in the healing deck. Linda is playing the Berserker. And the Berserker special ability is instead of doing a punch for 1, she can punch for 2, which is nice.
So.
And going a little traditional with the battle axe.
Yeah.
And the battle axe, it's hard to see with the glare. I haven't played the battle axe. So when you play a battle axe card, you can place a card from your hand in the wound pile and do an extra damage, which is nice. And Ram is playing the warrior. The warrior special ability is that when he blocks, he can do 2 instead of 1 defense. And you're going to see how important defense is in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Also wielding the dual daggers. The dual daggers, their special ability is if you're hitting something that has a state, so if it is stunned, if it's poisoned, something like that, he can do extra damage, which is groovy. So we're going to try and get some poison out there if we can today.
Oh, yeah.
So the first thing I'm going to talk about is components in this game. 3 notes in particular. So you'll see on the board, we've got all the... This is not one of the 3, by the way. We've got all the health set up. Each red gem is 5 hit points, and then each clear gem is 1 hit point. And we're playing a 3-player game, so all the values on the board are going to be 3s. And so we're going to be using the black values in the lower right-hand corner of each sector. This is known as the minion board, and then each sector in the minion board has its own thing that it does. How we win, the only way we win, is if we defeat all of the sectors on the board that can do us damage. And that's an important distinction. We're fighting the Goblin Horde today, and so for instance, the guy in the middle, the Goblin Drummer, doesn't actually do damage, he just buffs other goblins. So generally we try to kill him quickly, but if we were at a point where everybody but him was dead, we would win, because he doesn't do damage. How we lose, and if you've played cooperative games, you know there are usually several ways to lose. The first and obvious way is if we're all knocked out, which means all of our hit points are gone, and in this game you track your hit points with your deck. And your deck is composed of 10 cards from your class, 10 cards from your weapon, and then 5 item cards that you can either choose manually or they do have recommendations for you. We just usually go with the recommendations.
Yes.
So
Makes everything much easier.
as you take damage, you lose cards from your deck, and they go into what's called a wound pile. And when you get healed, you can choose cards out of your wound pile to go into your discard pile that will eventually get cycled back into your hand, hopefully, if you live long enough, which is not always a guarantee in Wrathborne Champions.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that. So everyone basically starts off with 25 hit points. There are possibilities to earn some fabled cards along the way, which are not only nice, but also represent extra hit points. But I usually don't count on those because you got to really be lucky and accurate.
Yeah.
So the components that I wanted to talk about are this is the Wrath token. The Wrath token does two things. It tells who is going first for the round, but I'm going to put a big asterisk on that. And it also kind of determines targeting. So if you can see on some of the goblins, so like this one, the Goblin War Chief, he is going to be targeting whoever has the Wrath token. Whereas this Goblin Lackey is going to be targeting the person to the left of the person holding the Wrath token. So you got to keep that in mind as you go along. The one thing, though, I said this is sort of like a first player token, but it's really not, because during a turn, this can move around. So I recommend having another first player token so you always know who's the first player. Today, we're going to be using this little koala bear with little grabby hands.
Yay.
That we got from somebody in Australia on a nerd cruise recently.
Yay, nerd bug.
So there's that. So I recommend getting something that your group can use. And then the other thing that I like to have is a marker for the game board, because you're going to be resolving each sector one at a time. So I like to use this little penny pachyderm that I also got out of the country. This is a very international game. And so I'll just place it on, face the right way, Penny. I'll just put it on whichever token we're resolving, whichever sector we're resolving, and then go on like that, just so we never lose track, because sometimes as one gets older, one loses track of things.
Yes, unfortunately.
Now, the third thing I want to talk about was a major source of frustration for not only my group, but other people. And this is the Ember Dragon minion encounter card. There are two of them, and they're different. They have different 1, 2, 3 abilities. This one here, however, that shows Fever Break, Transmission, and Spreading Corruption is a terrible, horrible misprint, and it will break your game if you try to play with it. So I recommend just putting a big X on it, so you know that if you draw that one, get the other Ember Dragon instead. I don't recommend getting rid of it, because if you use the minion deck to randomize your encounters, then you're only going to have, a half chance to get the dragon. So keep that in there, but don't actually play with it, because it's garbage.
You just said it's garbage.
It is garbage.
It is.
So treat it like garbage, but don't throw it away. So, and then the last thing is going through. I went ahead and there is a player reference sheet included in the game, but the two problems with it are that A, there's only one of them, and two, it's also not very detailed. So I went ahead and I made up this little thing that you can't quite see all of, but that's all right. It's got the player phase on one side, and then the minion phase on the other side. Minion is the boss, the whole boss. So I put this up on Board Game Geek, so if you want to use it, feel free. I'll probably have a link, down in the description. That's all right. I won't say the words like and subscribe, because I don't really care.
You literally just said it.
So, as an example. Don't talk back. I'm the game master. All right, so for today's game, I'm going to be player 1 to start. So I have the koala, and I will start with the Wrath token. Everyone's going to take their deck and get 5 cards. Oh, I'm sorry. I interrupted myself. There are other ways to lose besides us getting knocked out. The other 2 ways to lose are, there's a battle deck. Let me grab the battle deck here. And it's fairly substantial. And in a smaller group of people, you're probably not going to run through it. But if you're playing a larger group, if you ever have to draw from the battle deck, but you can't because it's empty, then you lose because you took too long. And the last way to lose is every turn you're going to check and see if anybody's done damage to at least 1 point of damage on the minion board. If you haven't, if nobody did any damage that turn, then what'll happen is you're going to take this is probably going to be too small to superimpose, but this little token here, and you're going to add it to a special player reference card that we're not showing because we only have so many cameras and screen space. But if you ever accumulate 5 of these, what happens is each time you get one of these, your hand limit is reduced by 1. So if you get 1, your hand limit is now 4. If you get 2, your hand limit is 3. If you ever get 5, your hand limit is 0, you can't play anything, and you lose.
And you don't want that.
You don't want that.
I don't think you want to
Probably
lose.
not, because there's no rules for traders in this game. I'm looking at you, Rem.
Hey,
So, hey.
just because I threw you under the bus that one time.
You did throw us
That
under the
one
bus
time.
that one time. So we usually just play out in the open because it's cooperative. So I'm going to go first, and I'm just going to go through with the player phase here. All players drop to the hand limit. We've done that. We have 5 cards. All right, so with the Wrath Token Holder, I'm going to set my actions, and what setting actions mean is choosing cards from your hand to play. Now you will notice your class cards, if they have a fist, that means it's an unarmed card, and you can only play it, you cannot play it with a weapon. So if I played this dexterous card, that's the only card I would play. If I played my forage card, that has a dagger, so I could play it along with a weapon card, for example, and I would be able to do the effects of both cards on my turn. For the most part, you're only going to be playing 1 or 2 cards. One thing you can do is if you don't want to play any of your cards for their effects, because the weapon cards, for instance, you see, it has 9 squares just like the minion board. So if I were to play counter sweep, it's going to damage the top middle sector, the left center sector, the right center sector, and the bottom middle sector for 1 point each. And then I would also be able to heal somebody for 2. But for instance, if this was the only weapon card I had, and all these guys were already dead, that wouldn't do me any good. What you can do is you can take a basic action. And a basic action, you can either punch, and you will do 1 damage to any sector of your choice, unless you're the barbarian, in which case, berserker, you do 2 damage. You can defend, in which case you'll get 1 defense to add to your character.
But if you're the warrior, you get 2 defense.
Right. In addition, so actually it says an additional defense, so it's not static 2, and the reason for that is things can stack. So in addition to the warrior having that ability, if you were playing with the sword and shield, you also get an extra defense when you take the defend action. So if you were a warrior with the sword and shield and you defended, you would get 3 defense, which is pretty burly. You can also bandage. So when you bandage, you can heal either yourself or somebody else for 1 point.
And for the cleric, it's 2 health.
Right.
Instead of 1.
Right. And again, when you get healed, you can choose cards out of your wound pile to put into your discard pile. So how the game works is you've got your draw pile. I've got my draw deck, my hand. I'll play my cards, and then at the end of my turn, whatever cards I played will get discarded. And then once my draw pile is empty, shuffle the discard into a new draw pile. All right, so what am I going to do? I'm going to play a card. Well, who do we want to get rid of first? The Goblin Shaman is not great, but also the Goblin War Chief is not great. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hedge my bets, and I'm going to play Flat Thrust. I don't think we're going to show every single card up here what we play because it would be a 5-hour video. But flat thrust lets me do 2 damage to any one horizontal row. So I'm going to choose to play that card, and I'm also going to play Forage because it has a dagger at the top, and I may as well have some fun, right?
Yeah.
So what Forage lets me do, oh, and when you, so these are the cards I'm doing, so I'm setting them, I'm not resolving them just yet. So I'm saying, these are the cards I'm going to play. And now I resolve them, and you resolve them in the order of class cards, item cards, and then weapon cards. So my class card is Forage. It says reveal the top card of your draw pile. If it's a weapon card, which in this case it is, I can do 2 damage to a sector. If it's a class card, I could heal somebody, and if it's an item card, I could give somebody a defense. And then I will discard the revealed card. All right, so that is a weapon card. So I'm going to choose to do 2 damage to the Goblin War Chief. Now we're going to resolve my Holy Staff card, and I'm going to do 1 damage to everybody in the top row. Kind of a little decapitating strike.
Yeah.
So then, now that I've done these, we have to go to the battle deck. Now what happens with the battle deck is you're going to draw a card for everything that you've played that doesn't, let me get the card set up right here, that doesn't have the no draw symbol here. So we're going to, this one does not invoke a draw from the battle deck. Also, neither would a basic action. This one is a sword. So we're going to draw the battle deck card, and we're going to resolve whatever it says for the sword. And in this case, it says Bad Blood. Add 1 poison to a sector just damaged. Player gains 1 poison as well. So what you do is you're going to add a poison token. And the poison tokens have a 2 side and a 1 side. So for any state that is not defense, you're going to put it up the two side up, and that's going to be kind of a countdown. The poison damage is going to happen a little bit later, but I also get 1 on my character sheet, so I'm going to be taking damage in a little bit. So we're adding 1 poison to the sector, which is a 2, and we added 1 to me, which is also a 2. That does not mean it's going to be 2 damage. It just means it's going to last. That is going to last for 2 turns. So we've resolved that, and now we go to the person to my left, which in this case is Linda.
Hey, hey.
And she gets to take her turn the same way.
Okay, well, I am going to set the forehand chop, which damages the top left, top middle, and second row left for 2. I could discard 1 of the cards in my hand to my wound pile in order to do an extra damage, but I'm not going to do that at this point. So I'll be doing 2 to each of
2,
those.
2, and 2.
Why don't you use a red?
And mine is a dagger for resolving the battle
Okay.
deck. So let's see what
So
my
the
action
battle
is.
deck today. Oh, look. It's a
Oh,
level
level
up
up.
card.
Yay!
I'm so glad that came up. I did not plan that. And it's also this would only happen if we played a damage
Yes.
card, which we did.
Woohoo!
All right. So for the level up cards, we've got a Fabled deck, which I haven't explained yet. But this is a little smaller deck than the battle deck. And this has every character class has 3 Fabled cards. Every weapon has 1 Fabled card, and then there is some sort of generic Fabled cards mixed in there. So what happens when you level up is you're going to draw cards from the Fabled deck equal to the number of players. So we're going to draw 1, 2, 3 cards. Now, if it's a class or weapon card, it goes to whoever has that class or weapon. If it's an item card that's generic, you can choose who it goes to. So generally, you're not going to be leveling up at the same rate, but it's always nice when it happens. So we have Guillotine, which
Battle
is
axe.
a battle axe. So that goes to Linda.
Yay.
And when you get these, they go in your discard pile. And the next one is a Holy Staff card, which is mine. So that's going to go in my discard pile. And then we have Oh, and you can also tell they're fabled because the
Ooh,
backgrounds
nice.
are kind of yellow gold as opposed to the
The
drab
regular
ones. Yeah.
brown.
So this is a Berserker one. So Linda is just
Yay.
rocking and rolling.
Why didn't I get any?
Yeah, I know.
I
Our poor
love
warrior
this
is so neglected.
card.
Wow.
So that was a really good thing to happen.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
But then the other thing is, you'll notice that we also then have to remove this card from the game,
Yes.
and then we also have to reveal cards from the battle deck. So we're going to get rid of 3 of those because we drew 3 cards out of the Fable deck.
Burns our time.
So these go away. Now where that matters is if you're playing the full version of the game where you're fighting 3 bosses in a row.
Okay, then I'm just using not stiletto. Assassinate. Which assassinate 6 damage to the middle sector.
Okay.
So that did some damage.
Yes, it did.
It did indeed.
And that was another weapon card. So we're going to discard the top of the battle deck card. So it's not removed from the game, but it is removed from this particular fight. Groovy. So now we've gone around the table,
Yep.
and we're back to the first player. So what's going to happen is we do player countdown. So any states other than defense that are on our characters. So for instance, I took a poison token earlier. I'm going to take 1 damage per poison token. So even though it says 2, I'm just going to take 1 damage. So you take the top card of your draw deck, and you're going to put it in your wound pile. But you want to check the bottom. This one doesn't have it, but some cards will have a wound effect. And if you are going to be putting one of those into your wound pile, you have the option of doing whatever the wound effect is. Sometimes it'll be helpful, sometimes not so much. Some of them are kind of situational. That's a good word for it.
Yep. Yep.
Anyway, I lost a weapon card, and I've taken a damage. No biggie. So then what you do is any state other than defense that is showing a 1, you get rid of it. And then any state that's showing a 2, other than defense, you flip it over to 1. And so you're going to be counting down as the turns go along. And then we're going to resolve any defense tokens that are on the minion board. There aren't any, and I don't think there are going to be for the goblins, so that's not really going to happen this game. But there are some enemies that will get defense tokens added to them, and then they'll kind of count down as the game goes as well. Now we check for enemy advantage, which is the 5 and you lose, which I was mentioning earlier. We definitely did damage this turn,
Yes.
so we're not going to worry about that. So now I'm going to flip this over, and we're going to start the minion phase, because now that all of us have gone, the bad guys get to go.
No.
So the very first thing we do is sector activities. So we're going to get our little pachyderm out here.
Yay.
The Goblin Shaman. He doesn't do damage, but he will revive 1 weakened Goblin Lackey to full life. And what weakened means is dead. So if a sector has lost all its hit points, it is considered weakened. There aren't any that match that, so we're going to go over here to the Goblin Chief, War Chief. His action is Enrage. He's going to do 0 damage plus 2 damage per weakened Goblin Lackey. So if we had 2 weakened Goblin Lackeys, he'd be doing 4 damage. We have 0 of them, though, so he's going to be doing 0 damage to the Wrath token holder, which is currently me. So I'll take my 0 damage and be happy. The Goblin Lackey is going to slash at me for 2 damage, which means I take my cards now here. Here we go, the Concealing Cloak.
Oh no.
This is the first one I'm losing, and I'm showing it to you because it has a wound effect at the bottom. And the wound is discard 1, which means I could take a card from my hand and discard it, which is one of the only ways to get rid of cards that you don't want clogging up your hand. However, I think I'm okay with keeping the cards I have. And for my second point of damage, oh no, it's a healing card. It does not have a wound effect, but there we go, taking some damage. Our next Goblin Lackey is going to attack the person to my left, so Linda is
Okay.
going to take 2 damage because it's a 3-player game.
Okay, so for my first damage is one of my weapon cards. There's no wound effect. My second one does have a wound effect. It says, if you don't control the Wrath token, move it to you and heal 1. Well, I don't want to heal because I'm the Berserker, and wounds are a good thing for me.
You'll see why later. All right, so then this is why I like to use the marker here, because sometimes I forget where we're at. So now the Goblin Drummer. He's going to activate his aura, and Goblin Lackeys are going to do 1 damage. You know what? That probably should have been in effect earlier, because it's an aura.
Probably.
So I'm going to retcon. We're going to retcon this a little bit. So I'm going to take 1 extra damage from this Goblin Lackey. Okay.
And my extra damage has no wound effects.
Okay. So now we're back up to speed. So as long as he's alive, the Goblin Lackeys are going to be doing +1 damage.
That's bad.
Yep.
It is.
Now our next Goblin Lackey is going to be attacking the Warrior for 2 damage, then +1 from the Goblin Drummer. 3 damage, Rem.
Yes. No wound.
Yeah. Just, 2 weapon cards. That's
Yeah.
not 3 weapon cards.
Oh, goodness. Did you shuffle your deck well?
Fortunately, you've got some pretty good class cards.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So our next Goblin Lackey is going to attack
It's me again.
Linda again for 3 damage, 2 + 1.
Okay, my first one. Oh no, my healing tonic.
How are you so good at math?
And another weapon card. And for the third one, my sharpening stone. The wound effect is discard 1. Let me see if I wish to do that. I do not wish to do that.
Okay.
Yep.
So that is good for me for now.
Linda will never get rid of blood memories except for when it hurts.
Right.
Sooner. It will happen. All right, so he's going to be attacking me for 3 damage + 1. So 4 damage to me.
Ouch.
You do take a lot of damage in this game, and that's
Yep.
okay. So weapon card, class card with a wound effect. If you don't control the Wrath token, move it to you and deal 2 damage. I do control the Wrath token. Now, if Linda had moved it on hers with her wound, we could have done a nice
Yeah.
little 1-2 there.
If only I had precognition. Yeah.
All right, so that's my 4 cards, my 4 damage. And then our last Goblin Lackey is going to do 2 damage + 1.
Oh my gosh, seriously?
Another weapon card.
No!
Oh, your concealing cloak.
My gosh. No! The exploding dust too?
So, one thing I also want to point out is at the bottom of this is some flavor. I'm sorry, this. That's descriptive.
Yes!
At the bottom of the minion board is a little flavor text. However, some of the minions have actual game things here. So you want to check that before you set up your game to make sure that... trying to think of one of the examples. Anyway, just read the bottom, and if it's not just flavor text, make sure you incorporate whatever rule that is into the game. So we are now done with the sector activities part of the Goblin Horde.
Mm-hmm.
And as you'll notice, we went from the top left horizontally down to the bottom right.
Like reading paper.
Like reading paper in English.
Yes, in English.
So now we go to the minion countdown phase. In the minion countdown phase, we're going to resolve the states on the sectors except for defense. So defense counts down in the opposition's countdown phase. Otherwise, it would really be useless because it would count down just before you get attacked. So in this case, the Goblin War Chief has a poison token on him, so he's going to take a damage, and then if there were any 1s, they would get removed, any 2s get flipped to 1. In that order. And then we check players for defense. None of us have defense right now, but if we did, this is when it would spin down. And now we advance the Wrath token. And I will also reluctantly pass my cute little koala.
Yes. Hey, buddy.
So now we're back to the top of the player phase. So we still have the cards that we did not use last turn. And we're going to draw up to the hand limit, which is currently 5.
What?
I know, right?
All right.
Ooh, I have battle shout.
I'd like to
Okay.
do. Let's see. Maybe I'll use the blood memories. No.
Oh, yes.
Okay. I'm going to set Stiletto, which is a lovely, lovely card because it lets you damage any of the sectors.
I have stiletto too.
So I am going to damage top left, the Goblin Shaman, for 3 points.
Okay, we're making change, folks.
Woohoo! And that is an attack card. So we will
All right, so
solve that in battle deck.
our battle deck card is Minion Special 3. Now, what
Alright.
Minion Specials are, if you remember the awful, horribly misprinted card we had earlier for the Ember Dragon, that's what these reference. So, for the Goblin Horde, this version, there are going to be 2 versions in the game. For this version, we're looking at critical hit. 1 sector you damage this turn takes +3 damage.
Yes.
So we're gonna make more change for the Goblin Shaman.
Nice.
Oh
You
yeah.
get the Barbarian came in.
Minion
That is
Special 3
pretty
is
nice.
good.
Yeah, we need more of that. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
shuffle that back into the deck.
Yes.
Yep. No, I'm not.
No, put it right. Each player may add 2 damage to a single targeted sector on a weapon card they play this turn.
Nice. Now, it is ambiguous whether that means people who went before get to do that, but we play it that you do because it says it's a turn.
Yep.
So let's add 2
2 more
damage to the shaman.
Yes.
And so I can do 3 damage plus 2 is 5. Math. What? And I'll just take that red off.
Okay, well,
Off
so
the-
you're going to do 5 damage to the Goblin Shaman,
Yeah, the Goblin
and then
Shaman.
you also do 3 damage to the top right.
Yes.
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 So that's going to kill that Goblin Lackey. Now, which means, however, that if we don't kill the Goblin Lackey, if we don't kill the Goblin Shaman this turn, he's going to
Yeah.
revive the Goblin Lackey.
Can you kill him?
I don't know. You probably should have asked that before you whacked him.
Yeah. It's a co-op game.
Yeah.
It also means that if it doesn't get revived, the War Chief is going to be doing 2 extra damage each turn.
Yes.
So,
Battle deck resolution.
yes, thank you.
Right.
So you played 2 cards, and they both had the sword symbol on them. So this is going to be Minion Special 2,
Oh no, I have
which
a
in
bad
this
feeling
case
about this. No.
is going to be something fun, I'm sure. That's going to be the Drummer Aura increases by +1.
Oh my.
So for this turn, the Goblin Lackeys are going to be doing 2 extra damage.
Oh dear.
And that's okay. I mean, it's not great, but it is what it is.
Yep.
Now, our second sword for your battle deck resolution is countered. Player takes 3 damage. So now you're going to take 3
Okay.
damage, Rem.
Excuse me?
What?
Wound target player gains 1 defense.
Okay? So you can give 1 defense to any one of us.
Daddy, because if Linda gets hurt, like the blood memory stuff, right?
Well, berserkers don't mind getting wounded, so yes, I would agree that I do not at this point need defense.
Okay, so I will get a defense. Thank you, Rem.
You're welcome.
Now the defense tokens also have a 1 side and a 2 side.
Nice flipping.
And I realized that these are going to be really small on the screen, and you may not be able to see that. Now for defense, these actually are values. So I'm getting 1 defense, so I'm going to put the 1 up here, one facing up. And defense in this game applies to all attacks you receive. So it doesn't like, you don't get attacked and remove the defense. So every attack I sustain while I have the 1 defense will be reduced by 1. Except
Okay.
for poison, which I have. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Poison
It's still going.
and
It's still going to help. It's still going to
Yes.
help. So that was your resolution for your battle.
Oh wait, and I
cards.
need one more because.
No, you did too.
It was 3.
It was 3. Oh, it was
Yes,
3.
He took 3.
Math is hard.
Yes.
Yes, math is very hard, but
Okay.
it's achievable.
All right. So now it's my turn. And so what I'm going to do. Yes. I'm going to play Nature Craft as a ranger ability, and I'm going to play Raising Roll with my Holy Staff.
Cool.
So we're going to resolve them in class item weapon. I'm playing a class card first. I'm going to remove 1 poison from any player or sector, or I can heal 2 and then discard a card. I think I will heal for 2 because that's a better net than avoiding 1 damage from the poison.
Yes.
And again, I get to look through my wound pile and choose. Well, I'm definitely going to get Rejuvenating Vine and Concealing Cloak, and I'll be happy.
Yep. Good choices.
And then I'm going to resolve my weapon card, which is Raising Roll, which is going to damage the entire left column and the top middle. So it's going to do 1 damage to each of them. However, I do have the ability to add 2 extra damage to a sector because of Remington's Battle Shout,
Yay.
which I'm going to apply to the Goblin Shaman
Yay.
to finish him off and do 1 damage there.
Yippee.
Yosh.
And now we're going to resolve. Now, also, since I played a Holy Staff card, it didn't really matter the first time I played it because I was the first player and nobody taking damage, but I can heal somebody for 2.
Heal me.
So I'm going to heal our warrior friend for 2
Okay.
damage,
Okay, I really
so you can
need
do
to
that.
I really need something good.
And then I'm going to resolve
Really
the
needs
battle
something
deck
good.
for 2 healing cards.
Concealing cloak.
All right. So for this one, we're getting, for healing and shifting options, I can discard my entire hand, or all players discard 1 and don't draw next turn. I'm not a big fan of preventing people from drawing, so I will discard my entire hand.
Ooh, I think
Aw, thank you.
And then our second one, which is a healing card, is Minion Special 3,
Oh, nice.
Okay.
which,
That's
if I remember
the
right, I can do
extra
plus 3 damage.
Yes.
Yes.
Plus
Okay.
3 damage to a sector.
So that's going to be the Goblin War Chief.
Yes.
And it has to be a sector that I damaged.
And you have damaged
I
that
did damage the War
sector.
Chief, just
Yep.
barely. So those 2 are gone, and we're now back to the first player token.
Yep.
So we're going to have fun with the player countdown.
Okay.
So anything but defense on our characters is going to get resolved. Thank you. So I will take 1 damage for the poison token that I have. There is no wound effect on it.
Yeah. Bye-bye, poison.
And then it was a 1, so it goes away. Then we resolve defense on the minion board, which doesn't exist. Well, the minion board exists. But
Well, yeah.
check for enemy advantage. We definitely did damage this
Oh,
turn.
yeah.
Yes.
So now it's the bad guy's turn. Sector activities. The Goblin Shaman will rest in
Nothing.
peace.
Yippee.
Goblin War Chief will do 0 plus 2 damage because there is 1 weakened Goblin Lackey.
Okay.
So 2 damage to you, Linda.
All right. Oh, my poor battle horn.
Oh.
Oh, and my retaliate. If damage source is a sector, deal 2 damage to source.
Would you like to do that?
Yes, I would like to do
Yes.
that.
Okay, we're making progress on the War Chief. All right, Goblin Lackey, rest in peace. Goblin Lackey, Rem, you're going to take 2 damage, plus 1 from the Goblin Aura, plus 1 for the modified Goblin Aura.
Yes.
So you're going to take 4 damage.
Or-
I had to think about that.
another power strike. Wait, target player gets 1 defense. You get 1 defense, Dad.
Thank you. So what that's going to do, since I already have a defense token with 1, I'm just going to flip it to 2,
Yes. Roll that defense.
which is super nice.
1, 2.
All right, that was number 2.
Yes, that was number
Okay, you get
3.
2. Okay.
That was number 3. So 1 more.
I learned to count from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, so that explains a lot. All right, so he's done. So he's aura-ing again.
Yep.
Goblin Lackey is going to do 2 damage plus 2 to me, but I have a nice little 2 defense token, so I will only take 2 damage from that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. This one has a wound effect, but it's only if I control the Wrath token. And then this one has a wound effect only if I don't control the Wrath token.
Oh, convenient.
So if I don't control the Wrath token, move it to you and deal 2 damage. I think I would like to do that.
Okay.
So I will take the Wrath token, but not the first player token. They are separate
Right.
things. And I will deal 2 more damage to the War Chief because he's my bestie.
Yes.
I'm going to send him
Aww.
hugs with an actual bear. A koala bear.
Yes.
Aw, you're
All right.
nice.
So that was my 2 damage.
That's cute.
This Goblin Lackey is going to do...
Me now.
No, it's to the left of you.
It's to the
So
left
Rem, you're going
of
to take...
the Wrath token holder.
You're
which is
right.
Now you.
You're
So
right.
It is me.
If only somebody had told me we'd move the Wrath token a minute ago. All right, yes. Have your 4 damage.
Okay, so 1, oh, that's unfortunate. That was my enrage. 2, also unfortunate.
Statue
of
of
Mimicry. 3 and 4. If damage source is a sector, deal 2 damage to source.
Would you like to do that?
Why, yes, I would like to retaliate on
Okay.
him.
Smacky the Lackey. All right, our
Make
next
things a bit
one,
easier for later.
he's going to do 3 damage. He's also a Lackey, so 5 damage to me, which becomes 3 because of my 2 defense. However, my draw deck is getting really low.
Yes, we need some
So
healing
1,
for you.
if only somebody had played the Holy Staff. 2 and 3. And then our last Goblin Lackey is going after Rem for 4 damage.
Oh gosh.
Yep.
I'm also gonna swap a weapon card. Blah blah blah. I don't want that. 2. No.
Oh, another healing.
Yeah, it happens.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And it's quickly running downhill.
I know.
But we can catch this.
Well, I do have a
we
decent.
can do it.
I do have a decent draw pile or discard pile at
Yeah,
least.
see, I don't so much, but that's
Oh,
okay.
okay, we'll get you there.
I just
Yep.
need one thing.
Okay.
All right, so now we do the minion countdown. So we resolve states on the sectors. The only one is this poison token here. So it's going to do a damage to the War Chief. The 1s will go away, and any 2s will be flipped to a 1. And then we do defense on player characters. Now I do have a defense token of 2, so that's going to flip down to 1. And then we advance the Wrath token. Ta-da! Now everyone draws up to 5 cards.
I think I am going to is this worth the sacrifice? How much damage can you do to the middle section? Because I am thinking of doing 4 points of damage to each one in the middle section.
I could
Would
do
it
exactly
be-
4 damage to the drummer if you want.
That might.
Okay, I
that
think
would definitely
that would
work.
probably be good.
Yes.
Okay,
Get
so
rid of that aura.
Yep. So I'm going to do Enrage, and I'm going to do it by section. So Enrage gives me the chance to double the damage of all targeted sectors on a weapon card you play this turn. Then I have to place all the cards still in my hand in my wound pile.
Wow.
But I am willing to take this sacrifice.
Okay.
So it's 2 in each sector in the middle row. So it now becomes
It's 4. Nice. So that'll become. Let me change a little more convincingly than that.
Yes.
And then do the same thing there.
All right, and I have two
swords.
lovely sword cards to deal with.
All right.
Yes.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I
is
will
a good
take
one.
nothing. And I will be happy with it.
Nothing again.
Also nothing. Fantastic.
Woohoo!
And so
Okay,
then all
and then
those
these
go in the
go
wound.
to my wound pile. All right.
All right. What have you got for us? Oh, warrior of light.
I am going to use the heal basic action.
There we go.
Okay. So that means you have to discard one or more cards from your hand. So this is a good opportunity to get rid of cards that you don't feel are going to be useful, or if you feel like you can get better cards immediately that are more immediately useful from your draw deck.
Okay.
So you could discard all 5 and do a basic action. You'd only get the basic action effect once. So you'd only, like in this case, we would heal for 1 hit point, not 5. But you'd be able to cycle your cards faster if you wanted to do that.
Okay.
So how many cards are you discarding?
I discarded 1.
Okay. And so now you get to choose 1 card from your wound pile. Okay. So you chose the healing tonic.
Yes.
That seems
Okay.
reasonable.
Yep.
Yes. Yes. This is my best way of healing.
All right. So I'm going to do a forage and a heal thrust.
Nice.
The forage is a class card with a dagger, so I can use it with a weapon. This will reveal the top card of my draw pile. It is a weapon card,
Cool.
so I can do 2 damage to a sector. So I will do 2 more damage to my bestie up here.
Aww, you're so nice.
I know. Now keep in mind that cards that get used up this way don't invoke the battle deck. It's only cards that you've set to play. So, for instance, even the discarding for the basic action doesn't invoke a battle deck draw. Then for my next card is a heal thrust for my holy staff. So I'll be doing 4 damage to the Goblin Drummer. This beat does not go on.
Aura damage.
And I will heal a target player for 2. I'm going to heal our Berserker.
Thank you.
So now to resolve these, the forage does not invoke a draw, but the weapon or the heal thrust does, and it is a heart that we are going to resolve. Overheal, all players heal 1.
Oh, yes.
So everyone's going to get
Okay.
1 card from the wound pile of your choice. We are looking in pretty good shape today, I would say.
So far so good.
Hopefully we're not playing anything wrong.
Yes, there is that.
I think we're doing okay. I think we're
We
doing
are.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that was my battle deck draw. So now I'm
Okay.
done. We're back to the first player token.
Yep.
So now we go to the player countdowns. Any non-defense states? No, we
Nope.
don't have any. For once, I'm not poisoned.
Yeah.
No defense on the
Nice.
minion board. We've definitely done damage this turn.
Yes.
So now it's the bad guys. Skip the shaman. Now the war chief. He's going to have a little bit of punch now.
Yes,
He's going to be
unfortunately.
doing 0 plus 2, 4 damage to our berserker.
Okay. Bummer. Retribution. 1, 2, 3, and I have the wrath token. 4. Oh, we're very low, aren't we?
We are. Fortunately, the lackeys are not doing extra damage anymore. So now this one's going to be doing 2 damage to me. I do have 1 defense, so I will take 1 damage. No wound effect on that card. Okay, our warrior is going to take 2 damage.
Okay, now I shuffle these, right? Yeah.
Now you shuffle them, yes.
Yes. Because now this...
You don't shuffle until you actually need to draw from it. Because there still may be times when you're adding to the discard pile.
Yes. Come on, please not healing tonic. It's assassinate, but that's okay. Okay.
Right, another weapon card. And you know,
Yes.
that was great because people at home can't see this, but both of his weapon cards only affected sectors that were already dead.
Yes.
Yes.
So, oh my gosh, I got so lucky right
So
there.
that was cool.
No, not my healing.
All
token,
right, so
not my
now
healing token,
3
not my
damage
healing
to the Wrath token holder.
All right. Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Oh no, it's your fabled weapon
no.
card.
No.
That's the tragedy.
It is.
And then I'm going to be taking 2 damage, -1 for my defense. Oh no, it's my fabled weapon card.
Nah.
Double tragedy.
It is indeed.
All right, then we do minion countdown.
Yeah.
No states on the sectors. My defense token of 1 will go away. And then we advance the Wrath token. Now, for the first time in the game,
I get the Wrath
I know
token.
Linda and I have been hogging it.
Yep.
So draw up to 5 cards. And it is your turn, my friend.
Okay. I'm going to do something really cheesy here. Statue of Mimicry.
Okay, so what Statue of Mimicry does is that the next time he would take damage, he doesn't take it, and he becomes immune to damage for the rest of the turn. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I do take damage. It's just the Statue of Mimicry. Place this card in your wound pile instead. Right.
That's our first shield resolution of the day. Nothing.
Wow, I'm
Alright.
just bringing all sorts of first time today.
All right. So I'm going to play Rejuvenating Vine. This lets me target or heal a target player for 3. So Ram, I'm going to heal you for 3.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
And then I can target a different player and heal them for 2. So you're going to heal for 2.
Oh, lovely.
I know what one of them's going to be. Yep, there's that fabled card.
Yes, indeed.
All right, and then while they heal up, I'm going to resolve. Whoops, I'm putting the wrong card up here. I'm going to resolve the battle deck card for a heart.
3 health, right?
It is a minion. Yes, you get 3.
Okay,
Linda
There
gets
we
2.
go. Those are the 2 I wanted.
Minion special 2 is the drummer aura increases by 1. However,
There's no
the drummer aura
left.
has been silenced. So good timing on that. So now,
Okay.
Berserker.
So, unfortunately, I cannot finish him off. So, I will do the lumber split instead, which is vertical damage. I'm going to do the middle vertical row, 2 points on each of the remaining sectors.
2. And making change for the last time on this laggy.
And that is a lovely, lovely attack card for our battle
It
deck.
certainly is. All right. Discard your entire hand, or all players discard 1 card and don't draw next turn.
I'll discard my hand.
Okay.
Because as long as it doesn't have to go to the
Thanking
blue
you.
card, I'm okay.
Yep. So, I didn't take that off last time. It's still our turn. All right. So now we go to the player countdown. We don't have any states. They don't have any defense. So that's quick. We at the end we did some damage, so no enemy advantage happens. Now it's their turn.
Yep.
All right, so now he's got 1, 2, so he's gonna do 4 damage to you, Rem.
No, he isn't.
Okay, so that goes into your wound pile, and you now are immune to damage for the rest of the turn.
Koala
All
is
right.
cheesy.
So now, Linda, you're gonna take 2 damage.
Okay. 1, 2.
And then I'm gonna take 2 damage, and I don't have defense anymore. Wound, I could discard 1. Do I want to do that? I don't believe that I do. Alright. Ram, you're gonna take 3 damage?
No, I won't.
That's right, you won't. See, this is why I have things like the pachyderm. Keep me in line. And then, Linda, you'll take 2 damage.
Alright, there's 1. Oh, it's an enrage.
Alright, now we do minion countdown. No states on there, no defense on us. So advance the Wrath token. And the first player
Alright.
token.
And I have very few hit points left, but it's okay. We'll
Okay.
survive this anyway.
So draw up to 5.
Oh my gosh! What luck is this?
So I'm going to do a poison vial, which is an item card, and my neck and knee, which would do this too, but that's going to get well, I mean, I should do it anyway, I guess.
Yep.
And then this one gets 1, and then this one gets 1. I'm resolving these out of order. I should add 1 poison to a targeted sector on a weapon card.
Well, if you can
So
do
I'm
that.
just doing that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to resolve these. The poison vial doesn't invoke the battle deck. Oh, I will also heal a player for 2. I'm thinking it's going to be Linda.
Okay.
And we're going to resolve a healing card. So Life Siphon. Target player chooses to heal 1 to 6 damage, and then another player takes that damage that I did. So I will choose to heal myself for 1, and then Ram, why don't you take 1 damage?
Oh, fine.
So, given that you did extra damage, I don't have to do my other card, but I will still damage the same sectors that I promised to. So I'm going to do my lumber split and do 2 damage to each sector in the vertical there.
Okay.
And it is a lovely, lovely attack card. Please be nice to me, battle.
Player takes 1 damage. Backlash. Oh no! It was her fabled class card. It happens. A lot in this game.
Yes. I am down to just the 4 hit
So-
points
All right,
in my
Ramster,
hand.
take us home.
Okay, staccato strike. Let's do it.
All right, I need 2 sectors for 3 damage. So
Yes.
1. Is it 3 damage?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to just finish this one off?
Well,
Or can you not hit that one?
I can hit any sector.
You may as well, because then there's only 1 hit
Yeah.
point left on the
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing else to be poisoned, so I'm just going to get rid of that.
Yep.
Groovy. So now we do player countdown, because we're back to the first player.
Yep.
No states on us, no defense on them. We totally did damage. We did like almost all of the
we almost
damage.
did all the damage.
Yeah.
All right, so now it's the bad guy's turn.
Let's just.
You're going to die alone and scared.
Yes.
All right, so Ram, you're going to take 2 damage.
2 damage.
Yep.
Huh, I think I can take that. Wound. Discard 1. Well, that doesn't really matter. Dude, she can punch.
She could punch the
That's
thing.
true. I could punch this guy out and that'd be it.
When you do a punch, you can choose the
But-
sector. I think she's going to do it a little more convincingly.
Yes.
Stylish.
I am going to have much more fun with this.
Yes. All right, so minion countdown. No status effects on them, no defense on us. All right, I'm not even going to look at my cards in my hand. I'm just going to wave goodbye to the Goblin Lackey.
Okay.
Bye.
Now, because I've been dying to play this card, I'm going to play Retribution.
As the final.
So I have 20 cards in my wound pile,
Oh, gosh.
which means I get to do 10 points of damage to
Okay.
one sector that I have my attack card for. So I'm going to use my guillotine. So I'm going to do 10 points of damage to the sad little goblin lackey that's left. Because I've been dying to do that.
So you're using overkill.
That's right.
It's
I
not
am.
overkill if it gets them to less than 0.
Yep. And we finish it off
All right.
with my 2 attack.
Yay!
Yay!
So we have won the game.
Good
Hooray!
Thank you for playing.
Which was awesome.
All right. I certainly hope that provided a little bit of clarity if anybody was having issues with the rules.
And if you have any questions about anything, post in the comments down below what you would like us to clarify, and we will try to answer to the best of our ability.
I think you watch too much YouTube.
I think so.
All right. Thanks and happy gaming.